Let's get more on the Love Pentagon scandal that rocked Washington. There's no hard evidence yet that General David Petraeus' affair or General John Allen's alleged flirtation with another woman might have compromised national security, but the Obama administration is being dragged into the scandal over claims made by General Petraeus' former mistress over the attack on the US consulate in Libya back in September.
I don't know if a lot of you have heard this, but the CIA annex had actually had taken a couple of Libyan militia members prisoner, and they think that the attack on the consulate was an effort to try to get these prisoners back. So that's still being vetted. The challenging thing for General Petraeus is that in his new position, he's not allowed to communicate with the press. So he's known all of this. They had correspondence with the CIA station chief in Libya. Within 24 hours, they kind of knew what was happening.
Well, joining us now is Dr. James Boyes. He is an expert in American politics who joins us from our central London studio. Thanks for joining us here on Sky News this afternoon. I couldn't make it up, really, could you? But as far as the president is concerned, might any of this stick to him, do you think?
It's entirely possible, and it's good to talk to you, Kay. I think that one of the problems we're going to see here is there's just so much to dig into with this story. We've heard of love triangles before, but here's a love pentagon at the Pentagon. It's almost too much to try and make up. Whether this sticks to the president or not, I think will be determined by what emerges in the next couple of days, because there are, of course, questions as to when all this occurred and who knew what and when. And there's certainly going to be calls for major questions to be asked in Congress, I think, in the coming days as to what the White House knew and when it knew it.
But there's a sort of undercurrent, is there not, of betraying national intelligence, potentially?
Absolutely, and you heard the clip you showed there. If Petraeus' biographer has got access to data about what was going on in Benghazi that hasn't been released to Congress, and people are asking all sorts of questions about the timing of General Petraeus' resignation. He was, after all, due to testify before Congress as Director of Central Intelligence. That was scrapped. Now it's been potentially rescheduled. Is he going to testify? Is he not? The fact that his mistress and biographer seems to know more about what's going on than some members of Congress raises all sorts of questions about who knows what, where, how and why, and whether national security has been compromised.
Yeah, two high flyers in the spotlight at the same time, General Allen, General Petraeus as well. I suppose the question that again might lead to the president is, what if there was a cover-up ahead of the election so that this didn't come out until afterwards?
Absolutely, and this is the fundamental million-dollar question, I think, to be honest, that a lot of people are going to be asking. However, it has been suggested that leaders of the Republican Party in Congress knew about this before the election, not long before the election, but certainly shortly before the election, and really didn't know quite what to do with it. It was almost too good to be true, and what they couldn't afford to do, of course, was to go public with this and destroy potential people's careers just before an election, because that really would have been politicising the situation. But there's a lot of questions to be asked about the Attorney General, for example, to whom the FBI reports. What did Eric Cantor know, for example? And we're going to need to find these questions out, I think. The fascinating thing is, Kay, of course, that we're expecting a major reshuffle in Washington anytime soon anyway. It's tradition for the cabinet to submit its entire resignation so that the new president, President Obama, in his second term, can have a free hand to appoint who he wishes. So we're going to see a whole series of changes coming up, and it's almost more surprising that this didn't just get delayed until that rolled over, and perhaps it could have been buried along that sort of a basis.
And a final thought, why do scandals always come up in the second term? I'm thinking about Watergate and Monica Lewinsky, that sort of thing.
Indeed, you're quite right. There is a pattern here, which is that scandals which tend to taint American administrations do come up in the second term and are usually related to something that happened that either led directly to or contributed to the president's re-election. So it's almost kind of like, be careful what you wish for. Whatever you do to prepare for and win re-election may well end up coming back and biting you. We saw that with President Nixon with Watergate, and certainly the Monica Lewinsky scandal, whilst that happened in 1995 with an ensuing cover-up, it was very much her involvement at the White House during the shutdown of government, during which Clinton was seen to win an eyeball-to-eyeball contest with the Republican Party that helped secure his re-election, that very much led to his second term and, of course, utterly destroyed his second term due to his impeachment.
OK, Doctor, great to talk to you. Thanks so much for joining us. Thank you.